Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today we are on episode 5 of the Afghanistan series, which will be the final episode of the series that we're doing currently. And then we can move on to, hopefully, Millennium Dawn. Give or take quite a few things slotting into position. Now, before we click continue here to go back into the game, I want to quickly say apologies for this video being what I can only presume as being very late to be posted today. The amount of technical issues that I've had just shouldn't exist, I'll be honest. So you'll be able to tell by next week. If I film on Millennium Dawn, then it shouldn't be a technical issue at all, because I should have a new PC by then. If it still looks like this backing screen and it's late again, then you can probably tell there's technical issues again because I'm still on my old PC, which by the way is getting a little bit better. Actually it's getting a lot better, but still it and OBS are just not getting on at the minute, I'm gonna be real. No idea why, but it's something I clearly need to look at, and so I will be doing just that either later today or at some point before next week, dependent on what things go on with new PC and stuff, which I am now starting to chase severely up, because it's been long enough. I don't know, has it been like 2 months, 3 months since I last first mentioned it? So yeah, anyone wondering, that's way too long of a time. I was lenient, by the way, it's my brother's old PC, just in case any of you are wondering. Perfectly lenient for an extremely long time, but yeah, time is not something I feel like being lenient on currently. Not that I'm going around shouting at people, because that just wouldn't solve anything. But a little bit of friendly pressure as to, like, you know, how's it going type of thing, which is always somewhat useful. But yeah, all that aside, I'm hoping to have it by, well, I would like it today, but as we can tell, that's not about to happen. Ideally, possibly Monday, Tuesday, possibly Wednesday or Thursday at latest. But yeah, it's now effectively that I want it. But you know, I don't really know what sort of time frame I'm looking at for getting it or anything like that, so we'll have a look when we can about it, and obviously you guys will know by next episode whether I've got it or not. By next episode I mean next video. This series has taken way longer than expected, possibly due to the fact my PC died for quite a while, but you know, there's that. But we'll have to look. We need to deploy some more cavalry here, because we have got a possible issue with the British Raj that we need to sort out. We need to turn the weather off, otherwise everything's going to go quite slow. Right, let's turn that off. That should at least hopefully make the quality a little bit better. Right, we want to get 24 divisions here. And then there. Right, so we'll keep it on constant deployment. Really, we cannot deploy in British Raj anyway. We'll send them all to Kabul here, which is our capital, and we'll hope that they can deploy from there quite nicely. Then I will have to send them a constant command here, otherwise we're never going to get anything. So instant training here is now on, and we'll hopefully deploy it pretty soon, which should be about now. There we go. Now I'll turn instant training off, and we'll let them deploy naturally in the background until they're all fully ready to be deployed. I don't really know what the word I was looking for there was, but you know, whatever it is, I'm sure it wasn't necessary. Right, so we have no commanders, so that's fine. We just have to go out of commanders for Army Group 2 at the minute, because we just need to get into the front line. There's no real need to deploy people and field marshals and commanders and generals and all sorts of high command nonsense. Let's just get the troops to fighting as quickly as possible. So we'll send them down to the pocket here, which is slowly expanding at some alarming pace. Not overly impressed about the pace that it's, well, developing here. And then we might have a little look in a moment to see if we can cause a little bit of chaos to push down to maybe Oman or something along those lines, to try and stop them having any sort of naval supremacy or naval dominance, for that matter, in the regions around my coastline, which they currently have a lot. Right, so we've got troops starting to arrive on the front lines here, which is good. Oh, and there we go. I'm going to butcher this probably, the Timurid Empire has now been formed, which is really nice. Gives us a nice sort of British Raj style colour. Right, okay. No real idea why we're the same colour as a British Raj, but there we go. We could have been any colour in the rainbow, and they picked the same colour as British Raj. That's lovely. That's exactly what we like to see, is being the same colour as the nation you're fighting. Always helps you identify the two. Anyway, I'm sure there's probably a command where you could set the colour to be something different, but I don't know the command, so we're just going to have to live with it. That's alright. We need to advance here to try and take out their ports, so we'll move these guys across here in hopes of creating a pincer movement to advance forward from, which we are advancing at a decent rate to try and take all that back, which is nice, but it is just a matter of not getting outnumbered and keeping the advantage on our side, which if we can advance down to Karachi, then we can possibly cut them in two. But by cut them in two, I mean we can take their main port that they're using for supply, and then, well, they won't have supply anymore, so that's a victory at the end of the day. So we'll have a look here to see how that goes. The advance is on towards Karachi here, and we're hoping that they won't defend us for the first tile at least, so then we can shrink the pocket a little bit and have a more advantageous stand on the battlefield, which we are having a good stand here, so that's good. There is a lot of troops in that supply position for them, so I don't know if we've got the troops to beat them out of it. We'll try. With them, we have no choice, but it might be worth bringing them out again and letting them take some territory, swooping in behind, and then finishing off the rest of them without supply. But we'll have a look here to see what we're going to do. I don't even know if they've got a navy. I should probably know this. Do we? We don't appear to have a navy now. Very interesting. That just makes my plan a little bit difficult. Because I was planning to put a navy out, take the region under our dominance, and then take them out, but you know, that does the same thing. There we go, we got that done. Now, we're very interested to see if Iraq is going to join the war here, because they do have access abilities for the British. I'm thinking that we potentially look at them as a threat. What do we have here? Oh, there's a lot of things here. We can integrate a lot of things. I mean, we can offer peace to the British Raj. We'll try it on both of them. We'll have a look at how it goes. No real guarantee it'll work, but we'll have a look and then repair the oil fields there. We'll recruit some more divisions here because that'd be useful to fill some gaps with other divisions. We'll do some war propaganda and terrorism here, and then we can move the capital here to Delhi, which means the capital should now be in Delhi, which it is indeed. And then we'll start integrating just one of those tiles at the minute. Then we'll do that, this, and that. Oh no, we won't, because we've run out of political power, because that makes sense. Okay, that's all that matters. So we will then hopefully, not sure how this is looking. We are war with British Raj. Okay. Just realised my multiplayer name was up there. Had it shut and didn't show anything, hopefully. I need to figure out a way of changing some things on that, because it will very much give away information I do not need it to. But I need to fix that at some point so I can play multiplayer for you guys, because it'd be quite nice for you guys to see me playing some multiplayer games with some friends that have HOI4 and just having some fun on that. But there's a few things that need to go on behind the scenes first. But we'll advance forward here, and hopefully we should have everything set up to close the two pockets here very shortly. This will very much, if they do take the peace deal, which I'm hoping they don't, British Raj that being, it might just be the British Raj that drops out and they join back in again, which would be quite annoying, but we'll see how it goes. But you never know. We'll keep advancing here at a decent rate and hope that we can at least gain some level of territory. Right, so we're going to start closing this pocket out now, up to the north. What I might consider doing soon is going to war with Iraq, just to simply take over Kuwait and start pushing down into Africa. I mean, it's a risky move because it would open the front line up a lot to more British troops and, you know, British invasions and stuff. Oh, there you go. They've rejected it once, and I think twice. Yeah, okay, they rejected it fully outright. That is very good and exactly what we wanted to happen, because if they had accepted it there, that would not be great for the entire idea of what we want to do. So we shall add some more political power in here. Hopefully that will go through nicely. We then need to have a look for where we can take more territory, which I have forgotten where it is located. Somewhere, I guess. Why are we unable to do these? Okay, we're just gonna have to wait, I guess. Fair enough. Should be able to do that in about a day's time, hopefully. But we'll see how that goes. Right, so I'm going to pause the game here and we're going to do a little bit of a console command. We're just going to speed the process up a little bit. But this should be alright to do, hopefully. And then we'll take all of this stuff all at once. And that way we can gain the entirety of the British Raj. And hopefully after this we'll have everything that we want to have. It should go hopefully well. Then we are pushing forward here. We'll take French India as well, and then push forward to here. Is this for the Portuguese part? No? Okay, good. I was just checking that we didn't break the game slightly, which we are sort of doing that anyway, but you know, let's not break it too much. So we'll continue taking territory down here and integrating as much as we can. Then we'll integrate that, integrate down here, continue pushing over here to where we're going into France, or sort of French Indochina, I guess is the name for it. Recruit an agent there, take that, take this. This is going to be quite a large empire in a minute. Right, so we've got all of that, and then we'll just go over here and check that we've got the rest of this up sort of here. We'll integrate that, integrate that as well, integrate this, and then this as well. Then we'll do this, and we'll hold off on that. Then we'll suggest this and this, and then hopefully they accept that. Just basically doing anything to gain as much territory as possible. And now we'll turn the decisions command off, and then hopefully just checking the commands to make sure there's nothing else on. We should be able to continue and hopefully gain a bunch of territory. I think we took Delhi as the first bit to actually integrate, I think, here. Yes, okay. So yeah, we've got it as a core, so once we take it, we'll own it. Okay. Just checking how it actually worked, considering it was sort of claimed territory for now. So we'll still have to fight them, so it's probably worthwhile sending some troops over to Iraq and fighting through Kuwait and stuff like that to try and advance a bit faster that way. So we'll take our lovely cavalry divisions over here to Iran, or what was once Iran, and we'll set them up ready to go across border here into Iraq, take that for us. which will get them into position here, and then we'll go in, which hopefully shouldn't take too long. There you go, you can see them sort of starting to create a front line now, and just make sure that we don't lose any sort of territory in the process of starting our offensive operations over here. Now the idea with this is that we can immediately go in, capture Kuwait, and then sort of move into Syria, Lebanon, and then all the other territories towards Cairo here as well. Now we've got most of them in position here. We don't need all of them quite in position, but we will then turn on another console command here. There's a lot of console commands in this, where it now allows us to go to war with anyone we feel inclined to do so, which means Iraq is now on the chopping block, and we have decided to execute on that, which we have got a little bit of time before Britain joins, or Iraq joins the Allies, so we'll move in quickly, and I don't think we've got enough time to properly worry about them or not all joining. Those words did not make sense in the slightest. It was basically just me saying we don't have enough time to worry about them figuring out whether they're going to join the Allies or not, because they will, and we were expecting them to do so, to give us a benefit of moving through and capturing places like Baghdad, and then moving into places like Kuwait City, and consistently moving from there. I'm also considering going into Saudi Arabia to try and capture things like Oman and Yemen, to fully continue our grip on the region. But we shall see how that feels to pan out. Be quite nice if we could get across here a little faster than we currently are, but we are still advancing at a decent rate, so it's not too slow. I mean, I'd like to be in Kuwait by now, but we are not yet in Kuwait, because we do have a limited amount of soldiers here, which is a problem, but we will have to try and figure out another way of fixing that. We've got 4 spare divisions here. We can take one off here, put the other 3 on here, and the one that wasn't assigned to anything we will take and assign there, filling up some gaps in the Indochina offensive going on down southeast technically, but we won't worry about the direction of it too much, beside it's against France. No idea where that type of accent came from, but nevertheless we shall continue to cross here, across this river, which we're actually doing really well here. We're currently on the border of Kuwait, which is quite an achievement, which now means we can start to take that and take all the ports away from the British and the British side, which will mean they have no ability to use the seas against us, but they have ability to use intelligence against us apparently, which just, yeah, it's quite good timing, I must say. So well done, Britain. That was really, really good timing. But nevertheless, we will still win through at the end. So we can encircle Kuwait here. That would be really, really good, because that means the rest of the Iraqi, French, British and British faction troops, yes, that are in the area of Iraq will have to be supplied through from places like Syria, Lebanon and other places of such in the British front line. Now we'll deploy another set of cavalry divisions here, which then will come to our aid and help us out on the front line here with the British faction, which should hopefully bolster our numbers a little bit. So we'll put them in the front line here, and then we'll try and bring the front line to a close here as well. So hopefully we're moving to some pace now, which would be good. And then we'll push towards Kuwait City and start closing that pocket out as soon as possible. Or in other words, as soon as the reinforcements do arrive, we can start shutting that pocket down and then starting to close the rest of Iraq out of Allied hands and into our hands instead. Which slowly we do piece by piece currently, but when we get these new cavalry divisions onto the front lines, we should do it a little bit faster, which would be nice. But they are taking a bit of time to get down from Kabul, but hopefully they should arrive at some point very soon, which would be nice to see them arrive at a soon time, probably not the correct word, at some point soon, possibly more correct wording. Oh dear, it's 4 o'clock. Oh dear. That means this video has 1 hour to get it out, and I'm not sure I can get it out in an hour. We'll find out in a minute. If you guys see this on time and get to this point and it's, well, 5:30, then still quite impressive. It's probably about 4 minutes late to post it, but not bad. I'd be quite impressed if this does get out on time at this point, but we'll find out. Anyway, we'll continue advancing here currently. I want to close this pocket up here, which would be quite nice to do. So we'll charge up through here in order to close the pocket off, because they have a lot of troops in there. Iraq has finally surrendered, which is really good. But we still have an operation to continue here, which we need to basically make the Allies surrender all of Kuwait and its resources. But we've split them. I mean, I would say we split them off here, but I mean, at the end of the day, we haven't really split them off at all, because they still have control of Syria to get supplies in. So it's not really a split as much as it is just advancing across the entire front line. But it would be nice if we could get to somewhere like Beirut and actually split them in half and then make sure they run out of supply and surrender to us, which would be really nice to get done. But we'll find out here in a minute if that is possible in the slightest or not. But we'll try and advance these guys to this port here. Then we'll take these 4 here, or 3 now, to Beirut in order to create a second line of advance to sort of throw them off a little bit of what our actual plans are here with the amount of advances that will be going on. But our true plans are just take the ports out, knock their supply lines off, and hope that something works out in the end from that. But we'll find out whether it does or doesn't in a minute. First, we need to worry about Kuwait City, because there was a lot of troops in there. 9, 10, 11, 12 troops, or 12 divisions, in there, which is quite a lot of troops, and quite a lot of manpower. But hopefully they will all either retreat out and head back to somewhere like Oman, or surrender and we can take Kuwait City under our control, which slowly, piece by piece, we do take it under our control as we continue the advance here. They have, however, taken back parts of Iraq here, so we're going to have to advance back so our troops continue to have supply for the advance through Damascus into Beirut. And they have been encircled up here in the north, which is quite nice. We'll put a front line on there and make sure that closes itself up nice and quickly. Kuwait is now surrendered, which means we now have more troops for the front line, which means we can start operating more sort of pocket closing operations, which is greatly appreciated to finally be a thing we can do. Which we also need to worry about the oil here. But hopefully here we can have them on the run and have them at least a little bit further back from their territory. Finally, it would be a long time in the waiting for it. I think we're going to lose those 2 cavalry divisions that are currently encircled. I don't see us getting them out. Yeah, they're gone. Fair enough. There isn't really much we could have done there. They were out of supply and we weren't going to break through the lines anytime soon to get them back, which is unfortunate, but there wasn't much of an option there. But what we can hope here is that we at least can close this pocket up to the north and then create one unified front line with the 44 remaining divisions of Army Group 2 and hope that they advance at a decent pace forward anyway. And obviously we'll fill them in with spare divisions at some point. Which the pocket is slowly forming to close here, which is good. We just need to keep knocking the supply down, and they should be done pretty soon here. We've got a lot of troops putting pressure on the pocket here, which is a very nice thing to see, but we need to close it as soon as possible realistically. So we'll move these 4 in here to put some extra pressure on the pocket and hope that it closes quickly, which it does here indeed. Right, so now we need to draw a new front line, which we're going to draw it down here to the opposite side of the Suez, so we can cross that and everyone should start advancing forward here. But unfortunately we do not have time in this series to show the further advances towards Cairo. So thank you all so much for watching this series. I do hope that next week is going to be on Millennium Dawn, and we can see a nice fun game on Millennium Dawn on whatever nation we choose to play as. And with that being said, thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope you all did like this video. If you did like it, please do subscribe, turn your post I've mucked that up. Let's try it again. If you did like this video, please do like, subscribe, and turn on your post notifications when you do subscribe, so you never miss another upload from me. And I'll see you all back here next week, hopefully on Millennium Dawn. So I'll see you all there. Bye for now.